Like this new thing is the 2-mask thing. Like they've been saying all this time in the media that we needed 1 mask and that was enough protection. But then at the same time they're like, we got to shut everything down. So the not U.S. government, but the state governments, the states keep shutting things down over and over again. But if it worked the first time, wouldn't you not have to shut it down again? And wouldn't we have no virus? If that worked, if the masks work, why do we need shutdowns? If the shutdowns work, why do we need masks? It's just simple questions like that get kind of lost in all of the back and forth debates about stuff with no scientific evidence to really prove anything on either side. Let's be fair. So there's people who say masks don't work, but they don't really have enough empirical data to prove that. And then there's people who say that masks do work, but they don't have empirical data, and the facts are against them in terms of like what's been done, the mitigation techniques. So now they're saying 2 masks are better than 1. Hilarious. And then they'll say like, you got to put 1 on your butt, like, because they're already doing the anal swabs in Dashing and some other place in China. I can't remember a D word. But, that's not going to come here ever. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Trust the Great Reset, because that's coming soon. And everyone will be fine. Anal swabs. I'm looking it up, because I don't want to get it wrong. Anal swabs. Ew. I found porn. I'm not trying to find porn. Maybe later. No, never. So, okay. Here's Newsweek. We'll go there. I want to read the article because we want to be as factual as possible, correct? Okay, more than 1 million Beijing residents undergoing coronavirus testing amid a fresh outbreak have been administered anal swabs, which are considered more accurate and raise the chances of detecting COVID-19, said a Chinese disease specialist. The key districts of Dajing and Dongcheng began a mass testing drive on Friday. This was last Friday. This was Friday before, let's see, this is on 26th. So, let's see. I'm not good at maths. 22nd. So this would be the 22nd of this month. This is so disturbing, dude. A mass testing drive on Friday after a 9-year-old boy tested positive for the more virulent strain of the virus, first discovered in London and the southeast of England last month. Health authorities in the Chinese capital said they were aiming to screen more than 2 million people in 48 hours. Among them, around 1.6 million inhabitants in Dashing were to be given antibody tests as well as throat, nasal, and rectal nucleic acid swabs. Anal swabs have been in use since last year, so they're just reporting this now in the U.S., in Newsweek, including in the major port city of Shanghai, but the method is so far reserved for individuals in potential COVID-19 hotspots, according to an infectious disease expert quoted by China's state broadcaster CCTV on Saturday, so China's government network. Since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, we've tested for the virus using mainly throat swabs. Its characteristics are convenience and speed, so it's suitable for large-scale testing, said Beijing Yuan Hospital's Li Tongzheng. Nasal swabs are more accurate than throat swabs, but nasal swabs can be uncomfortable. He added, in some asymptomatic cases or in individuals with mild symptoms, they tend to recover from the illness very quickly. It's possible that there will be no trace of the virus in their throat after 3 to 5 days. What we found is that in some infected patients, the coronavirus survives for a longer period of time in their digestive tract or excrement than in their respiratory tract. How convenient. Lee said rectal swabs increase the rate of detectability and lower the chances of a misdiagnosis. Of course, anal swabs aren't as convenient as throat swabs. So they're only being used on individuals in key quarantine areas. This will reduce the return of false positives, he added. According to guidelines published by China's National Health Commission, anal swabs are to be administered 3 to 5 centimeters, 1.2 to 2 inches, inside the rectum. The swab is to be rotated and removed before being securely placed inside a sample container. On Friday, the 22nd, a resident of Tangshan in Hebei, why do I want to say it like that? Hebei province, about 120 miles east of Beijing, told CCTV that she was given double rectal swabs as part of citywide testing in her area. She said each swab took just under 10 seconds. A few medical papers released since the start of the outbreak last year have suggested anal swabs as a more accurate way of testing for COVID-19, but its merits have yet to be widely accepted by the Chinese medical community. Wuhan University pathologist Yang Shengku told Communist Party newspaper Global Times on Saturday that throat and nasal swabs remain the most efficient method of testing, given that the coronavirus is contracted via the upper respiratory tract. Beijing's efforts to eventually test all 21.5 million of its residents are expected to continue as it battles its second wave, which began with a cluster of locally transmitted cases in mid-December. Municipal spokesperson Tian Tao said 17.46 million people in Beijing, roughly 80% of its population, have already been tested since the start of the new outbreak. Residents have gathered in schools, stadiums, shopping malls, and public squares for the mass testing drive, which comes at a crucial moment just 2 weeks before the country celebrates Lunar New Year, a festive period ordinarily marked by hundreds of thousands of commutes home. China recorded 82 new cases of community infection on January 26th, the National Health Authority said Tuesday. Among them were 2 locally transmitted cases in Beijing. There were also 56 asymptomatic cases, which China considers separately. Most of the positive cases were concentrated in the northeast of the country, where tens of millions of residents remain in some form of lockdown in the provinces of Hebei, Jilin, and Heilongjiang. Which goes to show, it's like they're still getting it and they're in lockdown. So, what gives, It's so weird. Oh, at the bottom, U.S. COVID death toll projected to surpass 500,000 within 1 month, even though we're doing all these measures right now to keep it all under control. But yeah, so there's that. So that's the anal swab story in its entirety that's going around. If you see it, then that's what it is. And I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like they're trying to give you information to make you more scared, or it's something that they're really considering. At the moment, I don't think it will come here, but you never know. Like in 2 months, maybe they'll be like, all right, those 2 masks aren't working. We got to stick it up your ass. Sorry. In other news, there's vaccines. So yeah, the vaccine initiative is going on right now. It's all over my Twitter, trending, vaccine this, vaccine that, just getting everybody worked up on both sides. Like the newest thing is the WHO went back on something that they said where this vaccine, the mRNA vaccine, I don't know if it's specifically the Pfizer and the BioNTech one, BioNTech, whatever they call it. But they said that it wasn't for pregnant women, or people, as they say. But maybe not. Then it was like, oh, well, maybe because they weren't tested, they shouldn't have pregnant people with use these vaccines. And so now, as it turns out, they're like, nope, never mind. We agree with the CDC. The WHO does. There was some information online about nanotechnology being in the vaccines. And yes, there is nanoparticles. There are nanoparticles, lipid nanoparticles to be specific. And they like move the protein or something. I don't know. It's all technical and scientific. But yeah, that will get in to your body and hopefully not your brain eventually, but you don't know. I mean, it's an experimental drug. It's an experimental thing that's not even a vaccine because it doesn't really purport to stop the spread of the virus. So the purpose is, I suppose, that you would... I'm right near the mic, sorry. It needs to be cleaned. I need to clean this mic. The purpose of it, I guess, is to really alleviate symptoms of the virus. So you don't die, I guess? But like if you're gonna die, if you have comorbidities, you have comorbidities. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like not worth it to have all those, like, some people have injuries or have situations that they don't know when they're going to end in terms of their body and what happens to it. And they've had allergic reactions and people have died. Like, I'm sure it's not related. But Hank Aaron, you know, he had one on like I want to say the 2nd or the 6th. I don't know. It was a while ago. I think it was the 2nd. I should probably check on that. Let's check the date. But he had a vaccine. I'm sure Twitter will help me out here. Hank Aaron vaccine. I literally just retweeted something from it. Alright, I found one article. Somebody had tweeted something. And it's from January 22nd, updated. It's not the same article. Is it? I will link it in the show notes. This is WSB TV. My old news station in Atlanta. He's a big deal in Atlanta. I grew up knowing who Hank Aaron was without even knowing anything about baseball. You just knew who he was. Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. All right. They didn't scrub it from the thing. They just put a lot of shit in there to cover it up. But yeah, he received his COVID-19 vaccine on January 5th at Morehouse, alongside his friend, Ambassador Andrew Young and Dr. Louis Sullivan. He said, "I feel wonderful." Not anymore. That's where you need to go, is like look at local news. Whenever something happens, look at the local news because you'll get a more complete narrative and less biased most of the time. So when that whole story came out about Jussie Smollett doing that fake hate crime, I looked at Chicago the whole time. I was in Chicago every day looking at that local news, seeing what was going on, what were the updates, what were the scoops, and that was really helpful. And when it comes to like Ghislaine Maxwell, looking at the court records, looking at the Southern District of New York or what have you, and is that right? I think that's where she has the court records. Anyway, looking at the court records, looking at the local area, and information about Metropolitan, the prison that she's in, I forgot the name of it. Brooklyn something. So there's that, and then what else? Okay, so the vaccine thing, we talked about that. So what I was reading before I got on here was biometricupdate.com. Go there for all the latest globalist agenda stuff regarding IDs, digital IDs, and immunity passports and such, and facial recognition technology and all that jazz. So yeah, I was looking at that, and they've got some stuff going on with the immunity passport situation. There's like something called Vax Pass Card and Vax Passbook. They got a fingerprint card. Excuse me. And so they say they're not going to utilize it. They say we have the technology, but we're not going to implement it, blah, blah, blah. I think there's a lot of issues with the testing, honestly. Like, this never comes up very much in the media, but the testing is not right. And even the WHO recently reversed their, I don't know if they reversed anything, but they said the cycles need to be done a certain way with the PCR tests. And I'm not scientifically accurate about anything, so I don't know exactly how to explain that. So I'm going to read the actual article because I think it's best that you know what I know, and then you can do whatever you want with that information. So I'm an information gathering source, apparently, so that's what I'm doing right now. Nucleic acid testing, NAT technologies that use polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, for detection of SARS-CoV-2. This is dated January 20th, 2021. It took them this long to release this information. And there was some misinformation, I suppose, that this was guidance that was released right after the president was I forgot what they call it. Inaugurated. My gosh. Right after the inauguration of Joe Biden. But it says in here the date is 13 January 2021. So that's before the inauguration. But prototype nucleic acid testing technologies that use polymerase chain reaction for detection of SARS-CoV-2. WHO identifier 2025 version 2. Target audience: laboratory professionals and users of IVDs. Purpose of this notice: clarify information previously provided by WHO. This notice supersedes WHO information notice for in vitro diagnostic medical device users 2025 version 1 issued 14 December 2020. So that's technically when this was issued. So there's going to be people who just grab whatever information they can, they glom onto it, they have their confirmation bias, and they say this is connected to this and this is connected to this, but they don't have any actual evidence to back that up. So I'm putting it out there for everyone to know what is going on, and they did reverse this, so that is proof that they have changed this guidance, basically, in terms of IVD, shoot. Anyway, so description of the problem. WHO requests users to follow the instructions for use IFU when interpreting results for specimens tested using PCR methodology. Users of IVDs must read and follow the IFU carefully to determine if manual adjustment of the PCR positivity threshold is recommended by the manufacturer. WHO guidance, diagnostic testing for SARS-CoV-2, states that careful interpretation of weak positive results is needed. 1. The cycle threshold needed to detect virus is inversely proportional to the patient's viral load. Where test results do not correspond with the clinical presentation, a new specimen should be taken and retested using the same or different NAT technology. WHO reminds IVD users that disease prevalence alters the predictive value of test results. As disease prevalence decreases, the risk of false positive increases. 2. This means that the probability that a person who has a positive result, SARS-CoV-2 detected, is truly infected with SARS-CoV-2 decreases as prevalence decreases, irrespective of the claimed specificity. We got it eventually. Most PCR assays are indicated as an aid for diagnosis. Therefore, healthcare providers must consider any result in combination with timing of sampling, specimen type, assay specifics, clinical observations, patient history, confirmed status of any contacts, and epidemiological information. Actions to be taken by IVD users. 1. Please read carefully the IFU in its entirety. 2. Contact your local representative if there is any aspect of the IFU that is unclear to you. 3. Check the IFU for each incoming consignment to detect any changes to the IFU. And 4. Provide the cycle threshold value in the report to the requesting healthcare provider. And then they put the references for what they were talking about. And that's it. It's like what people in the conspiracy circles have been saying for months. Literally months they've been saying that the threshold is not right. That the way that people are tested through the PCR is not correct. It's detecting other coronaviruses and then giving you a false positive. So now we have proof that that shit was true. So, like, this is all going to happen where the conspiracy realm people are going to be proven right on so many subjects. I mean, it's really just, it's sad at this point that so many have deluded themselves into thinking that public health representatives represent us, that Big Pharma represents us, that they love us, that they care about us, and they want to protect us and keep us alive. Yeah, just barely alive so that we can keep using their products. And we're a product ourselves to so many different organizations and multinational corporations. And big tech sees us as a product. If something is free that you're using, you're the product. That's the truth. And now we're going to have more spying, probably going to have a new Patriot Act situation because of the domestic terrorism threats. Remember when like every RV was being suspected of having like a bomb in it? That's great. So there's so much going on right now. You got to keep your head up. You got to keep going outside and enjoying the world, going on walks. That's so important. And, reading books that aren't horrible to read, like The Great Reset. I'm going to get into that I just read The Great Reset, COVID-19, The Great Reset on here. And I'm sure you all listened to it. But it was fun. I enjoyed myself. So basically, that was written by Klaus Schwab. Shout out to Klaus Schwab just wrapping up yesterday, I guess, the big Davos agenda for this year, which included the Great Reset. And I saw Robert Downey Jr. in one of their videos. Fun. They're trying to do everything they can to get people on board with this shit, but it's not going to work. I feel like most people are not going to buy that. But they bought it in so many other ways. And, there's stuff to be said for, like, technology has already reached a pinnacle where anyone can be basically spied on through their telephone device, like their cell phones and their Apple Watches and what else? I don't know what else. But, it's getting to a point where it's just so ridiculous. And there's so much misinformation and disinformation. And now that we have a new president, COVID isn't as bad of a thing. Which is weird, because at the same time they're doing that, they're really pushing the vaccines in the media and the masks. Like, they've just had a mask mandate for fucking trains and planes and automobiles. Everything you can think of, you have to wear a mask now. And a couple of years ago, you would never think that would happen. Like, it was unthinkable to say that the U.S. government would have this much control and states would have this much control over our bodies. Literally our bodies and our movement, our freedom of movement. But we allowed that. So you get what you deserve. When you settle for less than you're worth, you're not worth anything. You're not worth what you think. Some people were saying that Gavin Newsom started outdoor dining, again, on the 29th, by the way, which was yesterday, because of the Recall Gavin Newsom campaign, which I was a participant in, I'm not going to lie, where we're petitioning to have him recalled because he's not a good representative of California and our best interests, basically. And he's destroyed businesses through his mandates and shutdowns and whatnot. So some people were saying that. But yeah, it might just be that, it was all political in the first place. That the shutdowns were politically motivated and not scientifically motivated. Because they weren't. If you look at the data itself, it does not point to outdoor dining being an issue, being a contributor to the spread of the coronavirus. So, having done that, now we see Andrew Cuomo, I forgot his name for a second, Andrew Cuomo in New York, Governor Cuomo, right after being taken apart in the media by a report that showed that he just dumped a bunch of COVID patients in nursing homes and killed a bunch of people. Killed grandmas. All over the place. He was just like, oh, they died. Well, they would die anywhere. And, it doesn't matter where they died. They died. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but you killed them. It's fine. Whatever. Let's let the psychopath continue to continue to have his job and be a dictator in New York. That's great. So he reopened restaurants at 25% capacity. Outdoors. I think it's outdoors. Is it indoors? Oh my gosh. I don't think it's indoors, is it? Or maybe I'm wrong. I think it is indoors because I remember seeing that. Which is even more insane because didn't they have like a bigger COVID shit storm of what am I trying to say? Cases. Yeah, indoor dining. Valentine's Day, February 14th. Reduced capacity. Mandatory safety guidelines will be in place. So yeah, basically, okay, well, we have a bunch of cases and we have a mutated strain in New York. No problem. Don't they? Oh shit, I have to make sure that's true. I know there's one in California last time I checked. Yeah, January 4th. We have proof here. New variant was discovered January 4th in New York. And allegedly should be also in California. Because I heard that before. California. Yeah. Oh, we got a new article about that. Dangerous new coronavirus strains may incubate in COVID-19 sickest. January 30th. Today. Yeah, maybe behind California's surge, it says. California scientists have discovered a homegrown coronavirus strain that appears to be propagating faster than any other variant on the loose in the Golden State. Two independent research groups said they stumbled upon the new strain while looking for signs that a highly transmissible variant from the UK had established itself here. Instead, they found a new branch of the virus family tree, one whose sudden rise and distinctive mutations have made it a prime suspect in California's vicious holiday surge. As they pored over genetic sequencing data in late December and early January, the two teams saw evidence of the new strain's prolific spread leap off their spreadsheets. Though focused on different regions of the state, they uncovered trends that were both remarkably similar and deeply worrying. Okay. So that was around January 23rd. That was that article, LA Times. So anyway, yeah, so there's all these strains, mutated strains, and all of a sudden we can just open restaurants for indoor dining. How hilarious. But why have everything shut down in the first place then? They don't make sense. These people don't make sense. They're putting people at risk. Businesses are done. Some people have closed their doors forever. And you know what? I feel so bad for those people who put all their work into this restaurant, into building something that they could be proud of. They wanted their family to be a part of it, whatever. It was a big deal for them. They got the loans, they had the paperwork, they had the license for alcohol. They had everything they needed to go. And they were destroyed by this pandemic. And not even the pandemic, but the aftermath of it, the reaction to it. The response was worse than the actual thing, the crisis. So it's just really sad. It's a whole sad situation when billions and billions of dollars go to the billionaires, and then the unlucky people who are affected most by this stuff get fucked in the ass by the government, basically, repeatedly. And then even with the COVID bills, which go straight to, big corporations getting more handouts, and then we get a measly $600 the last time, and then maybe $1,400 if we're really good. If we're really lucky, we'll get $1,400, but that'll only be for us. And then the millions and millions of dollars will go to someone else, somewhere else, some other corporation that maybe donated a lot of money to the politicians. So they got to give them something back. Oh yeah, well, Joe Biden, we've already discussed him a little bit. So the vaccine thing, I forgot to mention that the whole thing now is Pentagon is going to get the military involved and have them administer vaccines to everyone, millions and millions of people in the U.S., and I'm like, aren't they busy, starving Yemen and killing people overseas with our money? Isn't that something that they're a little bit busy doing? But apparently they have a little bit of time on their hands, so they're going to help us out with our vaccine. Well, I will not be getting the vaccine, so good luck with all of that. Someone else can take my place. I have no problem with that. But I'm just not into putting something in my body that I don't know where it came from. And as it turns out, there was a story yesterday going around that they had planned on vaccinating prisoners and residents of Guantanamo Bay, which is still open for some reason. I'm sure Joe Biden will close it any day now. But anyway, they said they were pausing the plan to move forward as they review force protection protocols. Whatever the fuck that means. This is from today. Brand spanking new news from NBC News. That's the first thing that came up, sorry. The Pentagon announced Saturday they would pause their plan to offer coronavirus vaccinations to detainees at Guantanamo Bay, reversing course just days after they said that the vaccine would be administered to those that wanted it. No Guantanamo detainees have been vaccinated. We are pausing the plan to move forward as we review force protection protocols. We remain committed to our obligations to keep our troops safe. said John Kirby, a spokesperson for the Pentagon, in a tweet. Kirby's statement came just over an hour after House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, R. California, tweeted that President Joe Biden told us he would have a plan to defeat the virus on day one. He just never told us that it would be to have the vaccine, to give the vaccine to terrorists before most Americans. So basically, you know, they saw the pushback to that and they said, fuck that, never mind. But in the other news here, from yesterday, says on CNN, Pentagon close to reaching agreement to provide around 450,000 COVID-19 vaccinations a day if they're available. So they're working with the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We know how wonderful they are, the FEMA. And yeah, so the people who are pushing the vaccine so much now is so funny because they're pushing the vaccines created under the Operation Warp Speed plan with Donald Trump, whom they supposedly hate. So it's funny to see all the people hate Trump, but then they go and get his vaccine. Like even Joe Biden, he promoted the vaccine program. He got a vaccine, allegedly, maybe. And Kamala Harris and everybody. So it's just interesting. It just shows how full of shit everybody is about everything. And I'm here to poke fun at it and to show it to the world, I suppose, until I die. So, or get a job. Will I get a job? Who knows? Probably won't. But I have been jobless for the longest period of time in my entire life, which is very scary. And I sometimes feel like I have no purpose. So my only purpose at this moment is to share as much information, factual information, to the public as possible, to make them have a better life, to make them realize that they are owed a better life, that they can have autonomy over their own body, and they can think for themselves. And it's a better place if we all are able to do so. And then there's the whole, what was I going to say? Event 201 thing. I don't even think in Event 201, none of them were wearing masks at the panel, at the the tabletop exercise that they did. They weren't all wearing masks. And this bitch kept coughing throughout the whole thing, which was really weird. So I don't see them. But then again, you see the Capitol people, you see all these people, like when he's like signing this blank sheet of paper about the executive order, and all these people are around him and they have masks on. It's just like, huh. But then when the cameras turn off, they take them off. They take them off. And even he doesn't even follow his own protocol. And, when he had that executive order about wearing masks on federal property, and then he's like literally telling us all about the mask and how we should wear it, and he's not wearing one, and then he's like in the middle of saying it, and then he puts it on. It's just hard to take these people seriously. They don't even take this seriously. How are we supposed to take it seriously when you don't take it seriously? That's all I'm saying, is like, rules for thee, not for me. It's so many different people, so many different politicians. And again, it's human nature. I've said it before, to want to not wear a mask. Like, that's just human nature. And they should just embrace their nature. Everyone should just embrace their nature. If you die, you die. It's your time. I mean, like, you're going to die from something eventually anyway. Might as well not be scared of everything before you do. YOLO, as the kids say, they used to say. You live only once. That's not right. You only live once. But you don't, because some people believe in reincarnation. I do as well. Not in a religious sense, but spiritually, yeah. I believe you can come back here. I don't know why you would, but I believe you could. This time it's just going to be really frustrating dealing with whatever happens every day, because even more so than the Trump situation, where Trump definitely was for the vaccines, and obviously he had Operation Warp Speed, and he was allied with the Gavi Alliance from Bill Gates. I haven't mentioned Bill Gates enough in this podcast. I should say that he's a piece of shit, and I'm sick of seeing his face. Yeah. And he just got a vaccine, allegedly. So there's that. So no one can talk to him about that anymore, I guess. And he was so surprised with all of those conspiracy theories against him, and his microchip, and the digital ID, and the vaccines, and his investments, and the farmland that he has for the GMO shit, the lab meat and all that. Like, it's just, like, where are you living that you don't know that you're the worst? Like, nobody likes you very much right now. I mean, most people don't like you. I think if we did a poll of the world right now, the world, not just the US, then it would probably be like 56 or 60%. Let's give give them the benefit of the doubt. 60% don't like Bill Gates, and 40% do. I think that's a majority. So at least he won't be president anytime soon. You never know. That could be the thing. That could be the thing that he does next to really take over. But, the president really doesn't have that much control. He has a lot of control because he has so much money, and he funnels it into so many different initiatives. So we'll see how that goes, I guess, as we go forward. But hopefully people are smarter than they seem when it comes to this vaccine shit. Because I don't want to see everybody flocking to this shit. This untested shit. This shit that was supposed to be in a trial, but then all the people who are affected by the coronavirus were not in the trial. Or the allergy people weren't there. Like, so we have all these issues with it. So it's just like, this isn't anti-vax. This is just being smart and being aware of what's going on. I mean, that's where we're at right now. Freedom is slavery. Like, I literally looked at an article in biometricupdate.com about the immunity passports and everything. And somebody said, like, then you can travel safely and freely do this and freely. How are you free if you have to have something to go somewhere, wherever you go? Like, you have to have a card. Like, that's not free. Freedom is like stepping out your door, no mask, just hanging out, going out to the park, hanging out, going wherever, just doing your daily business, going about your daily life as a normal human person. It's not using a card wherever you go to show that you have a vaccine. That's not freedom. And if you don't have a vaccine, you should get vaccinated. You should get vaccinated. You can't take a flight until you get vaccinated. That's where we're going with this. Right now it's like testing. Oh, you got to get tested. You got to do quarantine. I haven't mentioned this yet. But you got to do quarantine for however long. Some arbitrary amount of days. And then make sure that you get tested again. And then you get on the flight. Then it turns out you have a false negative. Oh well. Doesn't matter. And then you get a new strain, I guess. So instead of shutting down, I just think it's funny that they shut down all these businesses, but the airlines still get to run. Don't you think that's funny? I'm just saying. Shut down restaurants and outdoor dining, but let people on planes, in the air, with a bunch of other people. Make it make sense. They don't make sense. The rules don't make sense. They keep changing. The goalposts keep moving further away. And I don't get it. How are certain people allowed to do certain things in their career, then other people are not allowed to do certain things in their career? It doesn't make sense. Unless it's just for money. It's profits over people. which has always been, but now it's just more obvious. It only changes when we change it. We have the power to change it because there's more of them, more of us, as they say, than there are of them. And that's what they're afraid of. The people at the top, the people making the decisions, the US governments, the world government, leaders, people like Klaus Schwab and the people above him, and Henry Kissinger and all those motherfuckers, they want to make our lives difficult. Well, we can make their lives difficult by saying no and not complying. And that's what I think we should do. And I don't think that should be an offensive thing to say. But some people might find it offensive to say, fuck the government, fuck the rules, be your own person, have autonomy of your own body, your choice. You don't want to get vaccinated? Don't get vaccinated. You don't want to wear a mask? Don't wear a mask. You don't want to go outside? Don't go outside. You want to go outside? Go outside. It's all your choice. It should be up to you as an individual person. That's all I'm saying, is that should not be a revolutionary idea, and yet in this day and age it is, and that's sad. But I think we can make it together. I think we are stronger together than we are apart. And if we unify against the political establishment, which includes everybody, then we can win. And that's the only way we will win. And the winning will just be autonomy. We'll win our autonomy. Wouldn't it be great to be able to do what you wanted to do again? Yes, we can do that. We can do what we want to do again. We can be who we are again. We can get through this and not be scared of the boogeyman. Because there's always going to be a boogeyman. It's a virus this time. It'll be something else the next time. Terrorists again. Your neighbor, whatever. But we can't let them win. Because they've been winning for too long. And obviously they is everybody. The world government, the people telling you what to do. The people making the rules. They are in charge. But we are actually in charge of our own bodies. And the minute that we all rise up and we show them that we're not scared, that we're going to be who we are, we're not going to be told what to do, that will be when we defeat them. And not a minute before that. Because we have no time to waste. They are putting in all these agendas already. There's already so much going on that you don't even know about. And I wish you would go find out about. I wish I could go find out about a lot of it too. And I'm sure there's a lot of government programs that we don't know about that are going to be implemented against us because they hate us. They hate us because they hate us. But we will win because we have the power. The power is in the hands of the people. We decide what is right and what's wrong for us individually. And that is the power of the individual. And that is what we need right now to keep the world from going to shit, which is where it's going. If we go in this direction, we are going to lose our direction. We are going to lose our autonomy. We're not going to be able to be ourselves. We're going to be full-fledged slaves. And we don't want that. I know that you don't want that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. Do you want AI to tell you what to do? Do you want your Siri to be in charge of you? Because that's where we're moving towards. But robots going to be in charge. But not really. But they're going to be the new humans, basically. And telling us what to do. It's going to reverse. Because at one point, computers were people that computed numbers. And now they're machines. So it can go back the other way. I'm just saying. And we need to keep that from happening. So that's what I implore you guys to do. Resist as much as you can. Be your own person. Have some thoughts of your own. Make yourself clear in what you think. Because there won't be a lot of time for us to be able to think for ourselves. To be able to show what we think to the government and to the world at large, the society. So we need to take that time that we have now and make it count. Make every moment count. Every tweet, every Facebook post, whatever the fuck you do, every, meeting that you're in, gathering that you go to, make it count. Make people know you're here and you're not going anywhere. And neither am I. President Biden, I'm never going to get used to saying that, authorized, allegedly, according to the Pentagon, an airstrike in Syria on Iranian-backed militia, on the border in eastern Syria. And that happened before we got our stimulus checks, which we still don't have, which has just been approved by the House as of this morning, actually, this early morning on the East Coast in D.C. So then, along with that, we get all this funding for COVID vaccines. And none of these COVID vaccines even prevent COVID-19. They say, like, they'll prevent this many, like, serious illnesses and stuff. Yeah, so will building up a good immune system. And so will eating healthy and exercising on a regular basis. And just being overall cautious of what you put in your mouth will help you to not get diseases. These diseases don't just come out of nowhere. They happen because of behaviors. So let's forget about that and just have one shot of Johnson & Johnson. Get this, Johnson & Johnson, which shouldn't even exist anymore. I'm going to leave a laundry list of all of the lawsuits they are currently dealing with from the last couple of years. I'll leave that in the show notes, and I'll let you look at it when you want. But to be specific, like, that's one of the worst big pharma companies to exist. And it still is getting good press and everything. It's like, y'all just gave people cancer. Like, what the fuck? Or may have. Oh, but like the studies haven't shown whether it was actually given to them. Whatever, I don't care. But like semantics. But, you know, they've put shit in their products like asbestos that does not help anyone. And they had known about it for decades. Decades. Going back decades. And that's just unacceptable. Except it's acceptable by the FDA because the FDA is on the take, let's be honest. And they will authorize any emergency use of any of these vaccines, no matter how shitty they are. You can hear maybe a siren in the background. That's the police. But that's LA for you. So just, I've said so many times, these vaccines are just not it. Once again, the government creates a problem and foreshadows creating that problem for years and years and years, as we've seen with the Event 201, Crimson Contagion, and Dark Winter. Shout out to Joe Biden for using that in his little campaign speeches. But, you know, now the COVID cases are going down, or deaths. I think the deaths are going down. But the cases are not, skyrocketing anymore. It's not as dire a situation as it was before he was president. And I'm sure that's not related at all. I'd be a conspiracy theorist to suggest such a thing, and I would never do that. That's just not who I am in my heart and soul. I would never say anything bad about President Biden. He is my savior. Joseph is my savior. Then, another thing that happens is he takes his mask off all the time in buildings that he's signed an executive order that you should have to have a mask on in a building, yet it does not apply to him, and he does not wear one in his little press conferences and stuff. Then we got Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel, who has still not started his corruption trial. He delayed it for COVID reasons. And he is still not seen court yet. And yet he gets to make all these moves and meet with world leaders and stuff and act like nothing's going on. Different rules for certain world leaders than for others, like the persona non grata that is President Trump, former President Trump now, who, no matter what he does, is going to be criticized and assumed to be an insurrectionist. And he was impeached twice, and they failed. They literally failed to actually impeach him twice. And so now he's going to be even more of an issue in 2024, is what a lot of people are saying. But he's already done what he was supposed to do. So everything's just going to shit. And we shouldn't stand for it. And I've told you guys that before. But people keep letting shit happen, letting themselves get fucked over by the U.S. government and the world government in general. And Klaus Schwab keeps, rubbing it in people's faces how much power he has over them. And Bill Gates, fucking Bill Gates. Let's talk about Bill Gates a second. Oh my gosh. He came out against Bitcoin because Bitcoin was doing game busters recently. Doing really well. Being worth a lot. I don't know what it's worth now, but it was worth a lot for a while. Like the most that it's been worth. As much as digital money can be worth. And he came out and he was like against Bitcoin, and he said, and I'll link that below too. He said that there was a chance of criminal activity and money laundering. So I went ahead and dug up this article that I've read a million times about his relationship with MIT through Jeffrey Epstein and him funneling money, $2 million, or trying to funnel $2 million. I think he did end up doing that, to MIT's Media Lab at the direction of Jeffrey Epstein. So he knew, and this was in 2014, so he knew Jeffrey Epstein after the conviction. And that's when he got into a relationship with him, but then started saying, oh, we're not friends, whatever, it's not even business related, he was looking at me as like somebody to work with, but then that didn't happen. Yeah. Then there's like a picture of him with like another guy from his organization, his Bill and Melinda Gates place, and some other dudes. And he's wearing like socks. He has socks on in his company. So he was comfortable enough to take off his shoes in front of the guy. So what else has he been up to with that guy? And is that guy still alive? I mean, there's so much speculation there. I'll put it out there again. I don't fucking care. I mean, he could still be alive on an island somewhere. Some people say Tel Aviv. Okay. I don't know about Tel Aviv. But there was a dude who was doing like... I assume he's a dude. I shouldn't assume his gender, sorry. There was an account on YouTube, Rusty Shackelford, based on the character from King of the Hill. And he would like fly little drones out on the island, the Little St. James, where the temple was, and we'd go in the temple, and he would go into this building and that building. He was there. They were there during the raid, the FBI raid, which looked super suspicious, with them like taking all of this information, all of the computers and stuff. And it just seemed like they were cleaning everything, honestly. That's what it seemed like. And they even put, like in one of the videos, they put cardboard on the window so their drone couldn't like sneak in or get any peeks. That was super suspicious. Like, I mean, I guess you could say, it's an FBI investigation and they don't want anyone to see anything. Yeah. But I think the best thing for the FBI, which is so not easily trustworthy at all, is to be as transparent as possible, especially when they were the ones behind him getting off earlier through the sweetheart deal with Acosta. And now Ghislaine Maxwell, if you've heard about the latest news with her, in 2016, I said 16, she allegedly met with, Ira Rosen alleges that she met with him about, I don't know what it was about. They just met, and he said that he wanted the tapes on Trump. And she said, if I give you the tapes on Trump, you got to do Clinton. I understand. I'm the daughter of a press baron and everything. So there was that whole situation that he detailed in his recent book, Ticking Clock, which is about the behind the scenes of the 60 Minutes. So this dude was going to get this information in 2016. She said, oh no, Hillary's okay. She's going to win. Don't worry about it. Sure. And of course she's a Hillary supporter because she was at the wedding of Chelsea Clinton. So for whatever reason, nobody ever asked that question, but she was there. You can see her in the pictures. She wasn't very far from the bride either. And Bill. So this dude also claims, Ira Rosen, in this book, that he just, he got propositioned by her and he turned her down to go hang out with his dog. Like, I'll link that too because it's insane. And he said that that he thought about it for a second, like, ooh, I really want the story and I want the goods. And he said, I'll follow the story wherever it goes, even if Clinton's involved. But who knows how many other people were involved. And that's why maybe we haven't heard about this until now. And maybe this is just a planted story to get us wondering, about the tapes and everything. Because there definitely are tapes. Because there were sightings of CCTV at the New York, Manhattan, I believe, mansion of Jeffries from Maria Farmer, who alleged that she saw some stuff. And then we also know that there was a link to Leslie Wexner, who still is around and able to walk around wherever he wants. It's insane. Nobody's arresting him. They did kill off that guy who was connected to Larry Nassar. But no go on the Jeffrey Epstein associates yet. And the co-conspirators are still at large. They're still there, out there in the universe. And nothing happens. And nothing's really going anywhere with the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Sealed up files that won't be seen. Are we ever going to see anything that has actual evidence in it? Probably not. So that's what's happening there. The COVID-19 rules are in place for a reason, to keep us all safe. Please follow them or get arrested. Metropolitan Police. Ugh. Wow. Great job arresting people for partying instead of killing other people. That's great. Insane. I would never think over a year ago, I would never think that it would be possible that people could be arrested for partying in their own home, for having loud music and 4 or more people in their house, that they would get arrested for that. That's insanity to me. It's crazy. And then there are all of these things about child abuse and stuff. Well, that wouldn't be such an issue if you didn't lock people in their houses with their abusers. Now would it? I can't. When they're like going after all of these issues, which they fucking put in place. They've made this possible for people to get more abused. And then people to be more angry at their victims. I can't imagine, like, how awful this must be for people who are abused but in the home, to be stuck with their abusers like that. Bothers me. Parties and gatherings like this baby shower should not be happening. Don't put your friends and family at risk. Stick to the rules. Stay home, save lives. How many lives have been saved by staying home in the UK, dumbass? How many lives have been lost? Let's count. Oh my gosh. We can find every adult here. Every single one of you. That's threats in the video. 200 pounds each because you're breaking the rules. This is insane. That's so fucking threatening. I'm so glad I don't live there. Boris Johnson probably isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think he's the worst thing in the world. I just think he's wrong-headed in a lot of his decisions, and he listens to the wrong people, and he's involved with the wrong people, like Gavi, through Bill Gates. And let's not excuse Trump and his little video from Gavi as well. I already showed you guys that in the past. You can look down my list of episodes for that clip, and you shall find it. And if you don't, I'll just leave it here anyway. Shit. Anti-vaxxers, like anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, this is the same shit. It's just division. It's just dividing people, putting them in categories and separating them from the rest and showing them to be like conspiracy theorists. Though they can't talk about this because they're going to radicalize this guy or that girl or whatever, and this person's going to believe this, and they're going to share it, and then it's going to be false, and then there's going to be a whole thing. But this was all categorized. This was all talked about at length in the fourth, I believe, segment of Event 201, where they discussed the internet's role in combating misinformation about the virus. That's totally not actually going to happen. Don't worry about it. But if people say that it came out of the lab, you know, we can get rid of those people. We don't have to listen to them, and we can crack down here and we can crack down there, and Google will help us out and all of that shit. And now there's a helicopter fund. So this is shit that was all like foreshadowed. The most foreshadowing I've ever seen for a major public health event ever. Like, okay, and I'll also share like this link to this video about the swine flu, because that's important, because there's a lot of interesting stuff there where they wasted all this money on vaccines and stuff, and then they wasted all this money for the H1N1, I believe. And so I think I've shared that video, but I'll share it again, I guess. Just get it back in there so you can see that, and how even when Barack Obama was the president, they were lying about needing all these vaccines, and they just threw millions and millions of dollars worth of vaccines away. That's where that money went. And so the money that you want for paying the rent and everything, you know, that's going to have to wait until after there's some cities bombed in a country that you shouldn't be in, and also a vacation for the Congress because they work so hard, and also the election of not the election, the impeachment of Donald Trump, which didn't really occur, which didn't go as planned, which was forfeited, as I recall, because there were no witnesses called by the Congress people. So that was fun. So that was all before you got your STEMI check, which you still don't have. You still don't have it because, you know, it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. It's going to go to the Senate. $1.9 trillion bill. Most of it going to vaccines, which don't do shit to prevent the disease it's supposed to prevent. And also is basically gene therapy with an mRNA vaccine. And a lot of them are double doses. And people have been known to have adverse effects, suffer adverse effects, but we're not allowed to talk about that. So there is all of that information out there in the universe. The best kind of slave is the one that doesn't know they're a slave. And that's what we are. And we're going to be tech slaves soon. We're going to be slaves to technology. Even more so than before, because already we are. When we look at our phones on a daily basis, like 700 fucking times. Get online and do all kinds of things. If they shut down the grid, we'd all be fucked. Then we have to talk to each other. And we're not allowed to do that, right? We could spit on each other and get COVID, right? So that's not allowed. That's how they've done it. They've taken away every mode of communication that you can have, except the computer communication. But they can take that away just as quickly. They being the people in charge of the grid, like the people who are running the show. Whoever they are. I don't even know who they are. You don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are. They're not Kissinger. They're not Klaus Schwab. They're not Bill Gates. These are just spokespeople, spokesmen. There are some women involved. But they are also just, useful idiots or puppets for the regime. The smoke and mirrors. That is the U.S. political dynamic and the world political dynamic that we have. None of this matters. Like, you can look at any of these videos of these world leaders saying anything. None of it matters. None of it means anything. It's the actions that matter. What politicians say and what they do is very different. And it's constant. And it's all the time. It's every single president we've had has said one thing in their campaign speeches, and then later on they go and contradict it entirely. So this is no different. I'm just showing you this to let you know that this has all happened before, and it will keep on happening. And if we continue to fight back against the establishment, then we can change the world. But we have to do that together. The narrative from the press or whatever is that everybody's just lining up to get vaccinated in LA because they just announced in April that they're going to open it up to the older people and then the younger adults. And which somehow includes 16-year-olds, which last time I checked, the age of consent in California is 18, lovelies, because that's what you say for sexual situations, but you don't say that for informed consent, which it's never really informed, when it comes to medical procedures that don't really need to be done. I miss going out and being on set and stuff. I think about that a lot. I wish that would be a possibility again, but with SAG being as crazy as they are about like all these protocols and the mask thing in general, and how it doesn't apply to certain people, but it does apply to these people. I just don't like that. So if you're going to set rules for everyone, and then not let people, behind the scenes suffer, who are manning the cameras and stuff and doing the sound with the mic, while all these people are barefaced on camera. Like, make it make sense. So it doesn't affect the people who are in front of a camera, but it does affect the people who are behind the camera. So they cannot show their face, or they will be attacked by the virus. There's so many weird contradictions and stuff with this thing. So I was going to talk about Fauci. Oh my gosh, Fauci. He was relevant for a second, but then he wasn't again. So I don't know if it's really worth mentioning, because the time that I wanted to talk about him before, I was like really gung-ho about it. And now I'm kind of like, whatever. More importantly, like, there was a speech, there was a press conference, if you can call it that, with the president, in which he started like patting himself on the back for doing a good job of the vaccines, which he hasn't, but whatever. And then he took questions, but only from people he had the pictures of, and he had their names, and probably the question, let's be honest. And, that just shows, one, the people, like, or accounts online who are like, aha, ha, he's a puppet. Well, douche, your dude was a puppet too. Everybody's dude was a puppet. Like, all the presidents are puppets. Like, you can't point your finger at Biden and be like, he's a puppet, and then let Trump say some stupid shit in his little press conferences and have notes and stuff. And yeah, maybe they're handwritten or whatever, but like, it's still notes. Everybody has notes. And like, this reminded me, like, the sheet that I saw from Biden, which was funny because it said the president. It's like, you don't know who you are? Okay. But when I saw that, I was just reminded of being on the red carpet. Not on it, of course, but as a photographer, because I used to photography a lot. I don't know why I'm making up words, but whatever. I used to photograph things, people, such things as people and landscapes and shit. But I would photograph celebrities when I needed to, just to get out there, and it would be for a sci-fi oriented site that is basically doesn't exist anymore. I didn't get paid from them or anything, but it was a good experience. I had a good experience with them, but I never got paid anything. They didn't pay shit. And then they just ended the whole affair. But we ended good. It's all good. Good terms. So anyway, one of these things, I did an event. I did multiple events, not just one, of red carpet premieres. So you would be at the premiere, and then a PR person would come out, and they would like hold up the name of the person, so you know what to put under your photos and stuff. And you would have to pay attention. You have to know their name and everything. Sometimes you knew their name, but sometimes you did not know their name. There would just be some random person, some random famous person, somewhat famous person on the red carpet. You're like, I don't know who this schmo is. And then they say, this is John, whatever. And you're like, okay, hey, John, look over here. So that would be what it would happen. So you would also get a cheat sheet. Thor: The Dark World premiere, they gave us like a cheat sheet, is the word, with photos of people who were involved in the production, who would be on the red carpet, and then their names, so we would know what to go with. And also that would be good for interviewing too. So I would interview people every once in a while on the red carpet as well. So once and that was just one time. I've gotten multiple cheat sheets before. So this is normal. So I figure it's kind of like that with the president, which is kind of disturbing because, well, not really, because again, they're the puppet. So they're not even really in charge of anything at this point. They're just a spokesman. And then eventually spokeswoman once Kamala Harris comes in as the next president after they get rid of Biden, however they're going to do it. But yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that kind of practice of getting the information beforehand so you're prepared. So I just think that's such a weird thing to be like ha about, it's standard operating procedure. Okay, big news with the Wuhan lab thing though, because I was just listening to an old podcast of mine in which I was stating that it could be possible that the fucking virus was developed in the lab and released from the lab. It's possible. And then, my guest was not like in that frame of mind, so he disagreed. But I still stand by that possibility. And I've not seen anything since that would make me think it wouldn't be possible. So what happened recently is this dude, this motherfucker, the ex-CDC director who was involved, I don't know if he was actually there, but his name was mentioned in a couple of pandemic exercises before this happened. But he came out and he went on CNN of all places And he said, you know what? I think that it was a lab leak. And he's not the first one to say that. Like, there's multiple people who have said that, who've come out and been like, you know what, I think that's what happened. And he said that's his opinion. So that's how they get you. It's like, oh, I'm just making my opinion known. But you don't work for the CDC anymore, you know? And he still was pretty adamant about it. Like, yeah, I really think that's what happened. Oh, well. But I guess he thinks it's like an accidental leak. You know, but he doesn't think that. Like, and there was something in that interview. I think I should play it, actually. I'll play it for you guys. Sanjay Gupta, if it's with him, that's insane, because he was in Contagion and was talking about social distancing then. Let's see if we can play the video. Here we go. CNN. Here we go. Ooh, 5 minutes. Let's see.
Former director of the CDC is speaking out on when and where he thinks the coronavirus pandemic originated. Here is Dr. Robert Redfield when he sat down with Sanjay Gupta.
If I was to guess, this virus started transmitting somewhere in September, October in Wuhan.
September, October.
That's my own view. It's an only opinion. I'm allowed to have opinions. Now, I am of the point of view that I still think the most likely etiology of this pathogen in Wuhan was from a laboratory, escaped. Other people don't believe that. That's fine. Science will eventually figure it out. It's not unusual for respiratory pathogens that are being worked on in a laboratory to infect a laboratory worker.
It is also not unusual for that type of research to be occurring in Wuhan. The city is a widely known center for viral studies in China, including the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which has experimented extensively with bat coronaviruses.
Yep.
It is a remarkable conversation I feel like we're having here, because you are the former CDC director and you were the director at the time this was all happening.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, the former CDC director is stating publicly that he believes this pandemic started months earlier than we knew, and that it originated not at a wet market, but inside a lab in China.
These are two significant things to say, Dr. Redfield.
And that's not implying any intentionality. That's my opinion. Right?
It's just my opinion.
I'm a virologist. I have spent my life in virology. I do not believe this somehow came from a bat to a human, and at that moment in time, the virus that came to the human became one of the most infectious viruses that we know in humanity for human-to-human transmission. Normally when a pathogen goes from a zoonotic to human, it takes a while for it to figure out how to become more and more efficient in human-to-human transmission. I just don't think this makes biological sense.
So in the lab, do you think that process of becoming more efficient was happening? Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, let's just say I have coronavirus that I'm working on. Most of us in the lab, we're trying to grow a virus. We try to help make it grow better and better and better and better and better and better so we can do experiments and figure out about it. That's the way I put it together.
Sanjay is joining me now.
Oh,
I mean, Sanjay,
okay.
This was part of a really important documentary that you've been working on for months, but wow. I mean, Redfield says that this is his opinion, but the fact that he's comfortable enough to go there publicly, it's going to have an impact.
Yeah, I think it will, and it's an informed opinion, obviously. He was head of the CDC at the time. He has access to data and knowledge that, most people don't have. So when you hear his thoughts on this, it involves sort of lots of different information that he had access to. The World Health Organization calls the lab leak theory extremely unlikely. Chinese officials have even started proposing this multi-origin theory, saying the pandemic originated in several different places. So that's been unsubstantiated. But the point is, a year into this, we still don't know exactly how this pandemic, where it started.
And Dr. Anthony Fauci is now
There they go.
responding to questions about this.
Yeah, so he is part of the documentary film as well, but he was asked specifically about this after he heard for the first time what Dr. Redfield said. So take a listen.
I think what he likely was expressing is that
Oh, we gotta
there
get
certainly
some
are possibilities, as I mentioned just a few
damage
moments
control
ago,
from Fauci.
of how a virus adapts itself to a efficient spread among humans one of them is in the lab, and one of them, which is the more likely, which most public health officials agree with, is that it likely was below the radar screen, spreading in the community in China for several weeks, if not a month or more, which allowed it, when it first got recognized clinically, to be pretty well adapted.
So there you see, Kate. I mean, even between Dr. Fauci and Dr. Redfield, it's still not clear, even to them, exactly how to say for certain where this thing originated.
Oh, I think he knows.
Has obviously been a very big question. Why does this answer to this matter so much?
Well, I think first of all, obviously this was a devastating pandemic. 500,000
Why does it matter?
people have died.
So it's just interesting that now we're allowed to talk about this shit, when it would be like medical misinformation if someone else, if a different account who's not CNN, who doesn't have the political cover of CNN, of being CNN, would come out. If they had an article about this and like got an interview with this guy, if it was independent media, it wouldn't be advertised. Nobody would hear about it. But since it's CNN, it's a big deal. And we're allowed to talk about it if it's a major news network. We're allowed to talk about the interesting aspects of this whole thing. And I guess, they don't ever mention Event 201, which is funny. But that was held on October 18th, 2019, as I've said multiple times on this podcast. And they were saying September, October there, the CDC director, Robert Redford. Redfield, damn girl. Oh dear, Robert Redfield. I don't want to get too into it, but I've lost friends because of this whole situation that we've been in for over a year. I've lost people from my life that I'm probably never going to talk to again, and it saddens me. But it's not something I can really do anything about. I can only meet new people and try and be open and be a good person to people as much as possible. Decent person. You don't have to be good. You can just be decent. Just be a decent person to someone. Talk to people that you see on the street. Treat people like human beings, because that's what we all are, until proven otherwise. And I think it's messed up that 2-year-olds fucking have masks on in so many places, or are supposed to wear masks. I think that's really messed up. I think, it's bad enough that we have social media for children. Like, children can get on social media at certain ages, or people will, or the parent will give them a phone to just keep them busy or whatever. That's bad enough. That's going to fuck up their brain. But now we got to worry about their immune system being compromised because of all of this isolation and all of this, trying to get them as sanitized as possible. That's not going to be good for them in the end. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I just worry about that generation of people and how they're going to react to certain things. And I worry that this vaccine situation could make things worse, because the cure can be worse than the problem, and usually is. So if you get a vaccine and then down the line your immune system is not as good and you can't fight off like a common cold or whatever, like that would be a problem. But hey, you're not dead. And maybe you're paralyzed or whatever, but that's fine. Whatever. There's certain, situations where they had heart attacks or anaphylactic shock or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't get talked about as much as like little instances of things going wrong with like hydroxychloroquine or whatever kind of medicine it is. They get talked about, and you can just see that the media, the people who are building this narrative, the companies or whatever, are in like cahoots with the vaccine distributors, with the manufacturers. And that's just that creeps me out. But it's not surprising, because even Bill Gates owns everybody, basically. And yeah, I wasn't going to go another podcast without mentioning Bill Gates. Hello. You thought I was going to forget about you, Epstein's friend? Yeah, no. That motherfucker is like, oh, we gotta be ready for the next pandemic and this pandemic. Shut up. Just give us a few days without a pandemic, please. I feel like, I don't know. Everything's changing. And not for the better. But if we work together individually, see, that's the thing. You can't be infiltrated if you're working individually. So if you work individually and try and retain as many of your freedoms as possible, just freedom of walking unmolested, walking around, walking into places to eat, not wearing a mask. Again, they can't like kick you out or whatever. You're going to eat anyway, and you're not going to have a mask on. So just be smart. And, you know, protests are happening all over the world, and they're not getting covered a lot, but there's a lot of shenanigans going on too, and there's a lot of police brutality and stuff. So just keep your head on straight and do whatever you think is right for you. I'm here with an actual guest for the first time in like a year. Not a year, but it's been a while. So here is my guest, the real Marcus Cage, James Cage.
Yes, here I am. I am live in the flesh, sitting here with Elle. Excited to, talk about whatever topics that come up. Elle decided to be a little bit mysterious with me, but I'm a good sport, and so I am excited to have this conversation today.
So our donors, you can go to cdcfoundation.org. I will leave a link, as always, in the show notes. So, going down the list. 1, they have a partnership page, 2, that I'll also link to, because that shows that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is not included, but they are major donors, as it turns out. But there are Pfizer, and there is Merck, and there is Bank of America, Northrop Grumman, all kinds of fun shit.
Chase Thermodynamics.
Booz Allen Hamilton. Yeah. Okay, so 50,000 and above. Anonymous. Who cares? At Blue Charities.
Blue. Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of them? That's news to me.
I don't know.
I'll just do the relevant ones.
Is that maybe like a Dodger foundation or something? Blue, because the Dodger blue maybe?
I don't know. I've never heard of them. I've never had a lawsuit with them at all.
I don't know.
Adobe,
really?
Adobe. I'm just going to, the relevant ones, not going to go through everyone because there's just not enough time for this random shit. American Airlines.
Oh, wow.
Group Incorporated. American Express Foundation. The usual suspects.
What's in your wallet?
AstraZeneca. What? Huh?
What?
Why?
What?
That seems a little weird.
Really? AstraZeneca.
Athena Health.
Athena Health, too?
Bayer. Good old Bayer. Bayer.
What?
Corporation,
Why would they have pharmaceuticals
Monsanto.
And drug companies?
It's amazing. Bank of America.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, Bayer is Monsanto. Let's do some research on them people.
Mm-hmm. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
What?
No way.
Really?
Why? Oh my gosh. Bloomberg Philanthropies. Gotta have Bloomberg's money.
Bloomberg, huh? Yeah.
Booz Allen Hamilton Incorporated. Mm-hmm. You love them, right?
Got to.
Bloomingdale's, of course.
What? Get you the best sweaters ever, right?
Cargill Incorporated. Love them.
Yeah. They're not doing anything mischievous.
Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. To themselves.
CDC. Really?
But they're independent from the CDC Foundation, according to their website. That's interesting.
If I didn't know any better,
independent?
I'm a little slow. But that kind of sounds like, what's that thing called? Conflict of interest?
Yeah, there's a lot of those here. We also have Cigna Foundation.
Oh, really? Insurance company, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Insurance. And then Clorox. Wash your hands.
Clorox, really?
Wash your hands, everyone. Clean the surfaces with Clorox wipes. Columbia University. Didn't expect that one.
Oh, well, you got to remember, whenever they do these drugs, a lot of times they farm it out to these different colleges, and then they get these grant programs to work on different things.
Emory, of course. In
of course.
Atlanta.
Emory, Atlanta, of course.
Gotta have Emory. Dell. Gotta get a Dell.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, gotta get a Dell.
Figures they be hanging out their buddy Michael Dell.
Oh, wait. This can't be right.
What? What do we have here?
Facebook. What?
What? You're telling me that
the fact checkers?
That the fact checkers are getting, and the people who decide which stuff needs to be censored on Facebook?
How did that
they're
happen?
Involved with them?
Fidelity Investments. Gavi. The what is it called? Something Alliance. Vaccine Institute, whatever the fuck it is. That's another one from Bill and Melinda Gates. We also have Goldman Sachs gives annual giving fund. Gives annual giving fund.
But
there's a little too much giving in
Elle,
there.
you could be just being unfair because Goldman Sachs just happens to be in most presidents' cabinets too.
I can't be seeing this right.
What?
Google? What?
Google.
How? Not the one that's always telling us about
Could
the CDC.
that be why I might have been having some problems finding certain things I've been searching for lately?
That makes sense because they do have the CDC information on every fucking video that mentions the CDC or COVID-19 or anything.
But while we're on CDC real quick, I happen to know somebody who literally got their whole page taken down for reading ingredients that were listed on the CDC's main page.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Harvard, of course.
Harvard, what? Harvard.
They also
wouldn't be
worked
up
with
to
Jeffrey
anything.
Epstein, so that's really fun. This has to be Illuminati, I swear. Illumina Corporate Foundation.
Are they going to be that
just
area?
sounds very
they
Illuminati
gotta play with you a little bit. Because see, you throw a couple like that, then it's see the crazy conspiracy theorists here.
Johns Hopkins University. What? They
They
put on the Event 201.
But
played X.
For those who don't know, I'm going to be straight with you guys real quick. For those who don't know, Johns Hopkins University, and look it up if you don't believe me, they are known for clinical trials.
Yes.
That's what their big thing is. Clinical trials and dropping clinical research.
And they do a lot of preparedness.
A lot of it.
Of outbreaks, which somehow end up killing over 60 million people every time. I don't know how they always do that.
Yeah, I don't know
exercises.
how their goal is to always be ahead and prepared, but never are prepared and ahead.
Yeah. They always lose. I don't know why in the simulations. Johnson & Johnson? What?
What? Come on.
How? Why?
Is this what is this, like the third pharmaceutical company?
This is a little
and
conflicty.
I believe two of them which have released vaccinations.
Kaiser Permanente, the vaccine distributor, which is also working together with the Hollywood Bowl, which I am so fucking dumb with because they're doing the vaccination or unvaxxed seating, and it's all depending on whether you have a card showing that you're vaccinated or whether you have info to show that you got a negative test, I guess a PCR test, which is a piece of crap, but it still counts for some reason. And then you can go to the thing outside and watch the thing. Whatever the thing is that you want to watch.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yes, outside.
You have to prove that you were vaccinated to watch something outside.
Outside.
So I'm worried about what's going to happen with Disney Hall because if that's what's happening outside, who knows what's going to happen inside? They're probably going to have the green pass by then.
Well, I mean, you hear that the CDC is released. What is it? They said now you don't have to wear a mask anymore. But California is trying to extend the mask mandate.
Yes, and get mad at you if you don't wear one. Well, I have a question. Why the fuck is Lockheed Martin Corporation on this list?
Lockheed I'm telling you.
I wonder why.
If you wanted to like make an Illuminati type like list of corporations that it would be in, I mean, I couldn't figure out better ones.
Oh, we're getting somewhere with this because Merck and Company is also included.
Merck and Company. You gotta love the name on top of it. I mean, people think you know what Merc is. If you like,
yeah.
what that word comes from, mercenary.
Mercenary.
I mean,
got a lot of those in Iraq right now.
Got a lot of those in
Afghanistan,
in Silicon
everywhere.
Valley too.
Yeah, we got them everywhere.
Actually, Wall Street's probably the worst Mercs.
Well, I don't know how they got on the list, but Microsoft. Like, what? How did that happen?
Microsoft. I thought they had a bad falling out.
Microsoft and the CDC Foundation. Morgan Stanley Global Impact Funding Trust Incorporated. MS Gift Incorporated. That's a lot. That's a long title for Morgan Stanley, which is right next to Morgan Stanley. Like, literally, like, just say Morgan Stanley at that point.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I just see New York Life there?
Yeah, you did.
New York Life, and remind me if I'm wrong, Elle, is that not a, what is it? Health insurance, not health insurance, but life insurance company.
That's life insurance. Mm-hmm.
And what's life insurance for?
If you die.
If you die?
Oops.
Okay, all right, let's go on.
I mean, just at the end, you see, like, Northrop Grumman Corporation, which is just great.
And Northrop
you can't
Grumman
have Lockheed Martin without Northrop Grumman. They're like twins.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if
Where's Raytheon?
At this point, where's Raytheon and General Dynamics at?
I'm waiting for Raytheon, honestly.
I mean,
that's all it's missing.
If I see KBR or like Halliburton in there too, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Then we're at 50,000 and above continued, I guess. I don't know what happened there. I bet what they did, what happened. I can't prove this, but it's a theory. 50,000 and above is supposed to be here, but before that it's supposed to be 500,000 and above, but they changed it to 50,000 and above so it wouldn't look like they paid as much money.
And on top of that, because I agree with that, and I think to add on to it is they broke it up. That way that they can kind of skirt whatever laws they're doing.
Oh, and that just happens to have PATH, which is the organization that worked in India with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And had some issues there
India.
With the vaccine.
Now,
little informed consent issue there.
Anybody who questions Bill Gates is just cuckoo. Look up his drug trials in India, especially with the youth, especially with children. And then also, I can't remember which country it was in Africa, but in Africa, there was a similar situation that happened there.
Yeah.
That was very identical to what happened in India. And if you look who's at the, WHO or the CDC, I can't remember his name.
Tedros.
Yes, Tedros.
Tedros was into some shit. Some war criminal kind of shit.
Well, if you go and look back, he was right there kind of covering a little bit of things up over there in India, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you fail upward? And then on top of it, we got to put in what is his actual career? Because he's not a scientist or a doctor. It's not in the medical field.
Nope.
He is some kind of bureaucrat who's been put into this overseeing like position, and I'm wondering how and why, especially with his track record.
Yep. And it just so happens right after PATH, like underneath, is PayPal. I don't know how that happened.
Well, yeah. PayPal gets right in the middle.
PayPal's great, right? Peter Thiel, we love him. He's great.
Yeah, I mean, none of this stuff is. It's all normal, right? It's all perfectly normal.
This is just the way it is. We shouldn't change it. We should just accept it. I don't know why the fuck they're there, but PetSmart charities?
PetSmart.
That came out of nowhere.
That one came from left field on me because I don't know where PetSmart would have came from in there.
But we're back to normal with Pfizer Incorporated.
Oh yeah, back to Pfizer. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Well, remember before when they said something like or in the early days, they were talking about people catching COVID from their animals and their pets.
Yes.
And then possibly their pets getting it also.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe somebody was thinking of what if the dogs start getting it, and now we got to get your dogs vaccinated too.
And put a mask on him.
But yes. Sorry, Scrappy, you need a mask.
Wear a mask, you.
And you too, little Simba the cat.
I don't know how this one. This is just. It's another out of nowhere one. Pinterest. Like, it's everyone. Where's Reddit? I'm ready. I'm waiting for Reddit.
Well, technically, now that you think about it, Pinterest technically does do a lot of memes and stuff about what's going on.
That is interesting.
And if you want to kind of like smooth over somebody who's been kind of talking a lot of trash about you, it's a good way.
Then we've got Prudential, of course.
Oh, another financial firm, huh?
The Rite Aid Foundation.
Rite Aid Foundation, really?
SC Johnson & Johnson. Not just, or SC Johnson and Son. So not just Johnson & Johnson, but we have SC Johnson and Son. Then we've got Roche Diagnostics Corporations.
Oh yeah, I figured they should be
a little bit conflicting with the testing and everything, but okay. Then Salesforce. We've heard about them a lot this year. I mean, a lot of researchers have. Look them up when you get the chance. I don't have time to get into that whole rabbit hole.
A little messy.
But that one's fucked up. Then Siemens Healthcare Diagnostics.
Really?
Incorporated.
Man, don't they have their hands in a lot of stuff?
I mean, I think this is just a coincidence that Spotify is on this list. Like that's clearly a coincidence.
It's something I'm dying to say about them, but I'm like, I'm gonna leave it alone. I mean, I'll say this part, that if you look back to that company, before they became what they are now, they had a very, very prominent role in American history. Very prominent, more than most people would even understand.
Siemens, not Spotify.
No, not Spotify. Not Spotify.
Let's just clarify.
We're talking about
that.
Siemens.
Siemens,
And
SIEMENS, not.
And without Elle getting Elle into too much trouble, I'll
we know
slip
what
this
it
out.
was.
I'll say
They were directly involved.
Look up them and World War II.
So after that, we get to T-Mobile, of course.
What?
Because that has so much to do with
CDC. Just got
CDC.
a question. How many Americans have T-Mobile?
That would be a good question to ask. I don't, because I'm smart enough. I'm informed enough. I don't want to say I'm smarter than anyone, but I'm informed enough to know that those major companies suck ass, because I've been informed by them of how much they suck ass by actually using their services. So after using their services for a long time, I decided I'm not going to use their services anymore, and I will get a prepaid wireless plan. I know we just got out of Spotify, and that was like a little weird, but like, have you seen all these TikTok videos lately?
Yeah.
There's a lot of TikTok going on my feed.
And like TikTok, for me...
I don't even do TikTok, and I see a lot of it.
I'm old, I guess. I don't know. I'm not cool, so I didn't really know much about TikTok. And then all of a sudden, like last year, like TikTok exploded. I'm like, what the heck is TikTok?
They're on the list.
Really?
Yes. United Health Foundation, of course. United Health Group.
Well, they had United Health Group, and they already had Kaiser. I mean, I guess that makes sense. You got to cover the other hand, right?
Vanguard Group. I don't know these. Vertex Foundation.
Well, see, what these are the smaller companies. You know, when they get the, what is it? When you're out of coverage area and you get these, that's these people.
Walgreens.
Walgreens, huh? Isn't that the place where you would be picking up the medications more than likely?
Where's CVS? That's what I'm wondering. Oh, it gets weird. Welcome Sanger Institute. We know a little bit about Sanger. We're not going to get into, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but look up Margaret Sanger.
If you don't know who Margaret Sanger is, then I don't feel you're engaged in any of this.
Eugenics.
And on top of it, if you are a minority especially, and you don't know who Margaret Sanger is, you need to get up, go to your kitchen, open the freezer door, put your head in it, and bang it like 3 times. You need to know who this is.
We haven't had a bank in a while, so yeah, let's go with Wells Fargo.
Let's get back to... of course.
We got to have Wells Fargo.
Of course, the bank... Well, we have Bank of America, the two that are most notorious for charging overdraft fees and every kind of fee they can think of.
And cluster bombs overseas that people don't like to talk about, but they do fund that. And
yes, they do.
I posted some information about that on a Memorial Day in the past. Letting the plane fly as it does, but also saying, that it's just a coincidence. I'm sure there's no symbiotic relationship here at all. But the World Health Organization is also on this list.
Well, you had CDC. How can you not have the WHO?
I mean, who's out?
Who? Yeah.
Who's
Who
not
are
out?
you?
Who? What did I say? Who let the virus out? Like, that's what the thing was before.
Oh, wow.
I'll say it, I don't care. Zoom.
Zoom.
You know, the thing that we never heard about until like 2019, 2020. Mm-hmm. It existed before, but now it exists even more.
I only the only people who I knew of who really knew about Zoom was like a lot of my colleagues who do, that we've been doing these different panels and things like that. And even a lot of, I guess, content creators didn't necessarily use Zoom because we would just you were able to interact with each other, before a lot of this COVID stuff. So outside of the handfuls of us that were trying to get in touch with other content creators across the country, outside of like a handful of like business people, most people did not know what Zoom was. Oh, I thought of something else. Speaking of this drug, which I found interesting. The now that everybody is starting to say, you know what, it's a possibility that it could have been a lab leak. Now we're dealing with the gain research questions and all that stuff with Fauci. Well, that's a distraction. At the time, I had found information that showed that there was a possible leak in Wuhan, China, and there were prominent Americans and American corporations who were investing in this lab. And so, do you want to blame it on China because they lost it, or do you want to blame it on America for running a lab in China which lost it?
Yeah, that's what I want to ask a lot of the people who are promoting that.
They're both at fault.
Like Tucker Carlson, for example.
I look at it as Americans are more at fault because you guys are the one running a gain of research lab. Gain of function. That's what I mean. But here's another thing. Why are they running a lab like that in China?
Because they're skirting laws here.
Ding ding ding
just
ding
like
ding ding ding.
They outsource everything to China that they can't do here legally. Mm-hmm. Like the slave labor for our phones and other things. So why wouldn't they do it in this case? Like, duh.
And that's the thing about it. Everybody is still like, well, no, it can't possibly be that. It can't be any. It's like, how many different things do you have to look at before you have to say, well, I mean, damn, it looks like this.
And I'm a conspiracy theorist if I say that he mentioned, Fauci, the one, had mentioned in 2017 that there would be an outbreak for Trump to deal with, and they needed to be prepared. How did he know that?
Well, I mean,
I'm a conspiracy theorist for mentioning that exists.
But did you see? Was it CDC or World Health? They had like the whole scenario of like, okay, this is what it was like one of their prepared drills. Now, granted. Yep. They do these all the time, but this one was like... This one was a little bit eerie how much it echoed everything about COVID. I mean, down to, like, they had a portion where they acted out what they believed, like, the reporters would be the questions that they would ask. And, like, what the specialists would be saying back to the reporters. And the weird thing for me is that you can literally match some of these newscasts up, like identical, and it's almost word for word exactly. Now, you can have some questions which are going to echo, but how do you have chunk after chunk after chunk, which is exactly just like this plan that you guys planned out?
Exactly. It's maybe the simulation continued. I mean, the hoax people do have some points. Mm-hmm. I'll give them some credit that the PCR tests don't work, and that is something that was iterated in one of these exercises, a Clade X by Tara O'Toole, the one behind Dark Winter as well, and Event 201, who works at In-Q-Tel as executive vice president, just so happens. And she said herself that is not a diagnostic test, and they need a rapid point of care test. And did we ever get one?
Nope.
We got antigen tests. I don't really know what those do necessarily, but I think you have to look at the situation and you have to look at the facts, and the facts just do not support this being a bat soup situation. When they came out with that shit, I was at work and I was like, there's no way that's true. Just for no particular reason, I found a clip and I shared it on my Twitter. So I share it here because it's interesting. Because there was a show, and again, if you look at the predictive programming, they'll be like, oh, it's just coincidence or whatever. But this was a show from the UK called Utopia. You may have heard of it, from 2013. And it aired for however long it aired. And then they decided to bring that back, but to the United States, just before a pandemic happened. In 2019, they started shooting. They stopped shooting October 15th, or no, 16th, 17th, 17th, 16th, 16th it must be, because they stopped shooting on the 15th, but they were like done on the 17th. I mean the 16th, goodness, of 2019, which was a couple of days before Event 201 happened. Just so happens. This show, not yet, this show was aired throughout 2020, but then all of a sudden it just like ended. Like it had one season and that was it. And then it was on Amazon Prime, funnily enough. John Cusack's first TV role. And again, it's based on that work, but it's different. So I'm going to play two different clips, actually, because I want to be as truthful as I can and show you the difference between these clips, because I listened to the original one, which is basically about a virus outbreak thing and how this dude is behind it. For population control reasons, it just so happens. But really? But the clip from 2013 is starkly different than the 21. And somebody even put like 2013 versus 2020 because they saw the difference. They noticed the massive difference, yeah. I'll try and find it.
It's kind of like what we were talking about before, the difference between the two total recalls.
Okay. I don't know if this is where to start it. Let me start right here. I don't want to play the whole damn thing, but... Okay.
So Miller knows we're there?
No, hang on. I mean, are we sure? I mean, did she know?
Of course she knew.
Who gave her the phone?
Ian, she's tracking us. The only reason why they're
just
not
listen.
Here is 'cause they're
You'll
waiting
understand
for
it.
the manuscript.
That doesn't make sense. She saved us. She got Grant off the hook. What's the point of saying it?
Fucking checkup. Why? Why'd you do this?
We weren't interested in what deals did to the subject. We just wanted to know if you could engineer a change that would be passed on. And we did. As an experiment. It was a success.
Success? Did you just... My father died of this?
I've done so many terrible things. But what we are doing is right.
Did you say right?
Brown people, white people, Jews. I assume you're referring to Carvel's supposed paper on eugenics. But Carvel was misunderstood.
Yeah. Just like Hitler.
He wasn't talking about race. He was talking about survival. We've now passed 7 billion on this planet. When I was born, it was a little over 2. Food prices are rising. Oil is ending. When our resources end in 20 years, given everything that we know of our species, do you really think we're going to just share?
So your answer to that is some kind of genocide?
No, it is not. It is not genocide. Our answer to this is Janus. Janus consists of a protein and an amino acid. Independently of each other, they're harmless. But when they're brought together in the subject, they act as a genetic trigger that prevents chromosomal division. The cell targeted can no longer replicate itself and is thereby rendered useless. The change is permanent and hereditary.
cells are targeted?
Those that control fertility, Becky.
What are we hearing about now?
The purpose of Janus is to sterilize. The purpose of Janus is to sterilize the entire human race.
Dun dun dun. So that's that clip.
Wow. Wow, I need to watch
Just take
this.
that in a little bit.
Wow, I need to watch
It
that.
gets fucked-er upper.
Wow.
Because let's hear John, because he's got some shit to say as his doctor character. Hold on a second. His doctor character, he's like a famous doctor or whatever, and he like put this virus out there and the vaccine. You'll hear about the vaccine in this one, which is great. This is the 2021. What sounds familiar? Figure it out. Here it is.
All my work. You disrespected science. What the hell did you put in that vaccine?
And when this vaccine fails, I'll be the scapegoat.
He created a flu that sparked the demand for a vaccine that doesn't work. After everyone in the country is vaccinated.
And the world.
In the world.
Murdered millions.
Nope. You
Nope.
don't have it.
We need to go now before that vaccine ships and more people die.
Give a certain percentage of the population a fatal illness, and you make sure it's genetic. See, that was the exciting part. You pass it down. So if you have children before you die. Becky, do you have children? How much evil do you have to do good?
This one's a compilation of clips.
By the need to know what happens next. Do you want to know what happens next?
Yes, please.
Your father created a world-changing, not world-ending, a world-changing, world-improving omnivirus. And we have taken that virus and embedded it in the vaccine of the Stearns flu.
I knew it. You created a panic, and now everybody's begging for the vaccine.
No. Demanding.
Why would they do that?
With all the entitlement of a first world country.
Yes. And now we have exactly what we want. Hundreds of millions of Americans lining up,
Lining
offering
up.
us their arms, and letting us give them our creation.
Roll up your
Sure, when
sleeves.
every vaccinated person starts dying, they'll trace it back to you, undetectable virus or not.
You've all been very busy. You're all very sharp. Are you sure none of you would like to come and work for me? No? Better than dying a terrible, violent death. Then understand this. What we are doing is far bigger than death.
Wait, this virus is not deadly.
It looks pretty damn deadly.
Tell me this. What have you done today to earn your place in this crowded world? Exactly. Everything I do is a cure for our current situation.
Wait, how's it a cure if you're killing people?
I told you it does not kill. That was the amazing epiphany we had. We didn't have to kill to accomplish our goal.
Which is what?
We intend to stop human reproduction for 3 generations.
That's all.
The busy, endless global assembly line of babies will grind to a halt.
You're sterilizing people?
In the first 5 years, we'll start to see major birth rate declines as teenagers vaccinated today hit their childbearing years.
You're controlling the future of human civilization.
Is that what they're calling it? It's a very nice euphemism for a species that is replicated like a contagion across the planet, killing all other species in its wake. Except things that are cute, like puppies or koalas.
Pandas.
Never in history has there been a creature begging for extinction more than the fucking panda. Except us.
You hate people that much?
On the contrary, I love people.
How? Why would you?
Doing what our government or citizenry is too spoiled or self-indulgent to do. We are saving ourselves from ourselves.
Halting overpopulation.
100 years ago, the global population was 1.7 billion. 2011, it reached
7 billion.
people live too long, die less often, fuck too much, shit out babies like.
In 2050, they say it's going to plateau. We'll blow past 11 billion and then slowly begin to decline.
But by then, it'll be too late to save an Earth that bears any resemblance to a world we actually want to live in. This planet. I love this planet. So I decided to take care of the problem.
By injecting your virus into the veins of every human on it?
Global warming, mass extinctions, food, water shortages. All these problems can be boiled down to one thing. Overpopulation.
It's not as simple as that.
But it is. At 1.7 billion, we can be as decadent, self-indulgent, and shitty as we want. At 10 billion, we have to live strategically. We have to live modestly. We have to live selflessly. And as you know, we're not that good at it.
And you're beta testing it on Americans since we're the worst.
If we don't do something now, right now, in a decade, our world will experience extraordinary privations. A war of all against all.
Water. We'll go to war over water, and the people who will die first are the ones without power and money.
By then, we'll be fighting over a world that really isn't worth fighting for.
You can't just decide people won't have babies because...
I can and I did.
What about what this does to people, society?
Salvation. We can form a new society. The grand social experiment.
So, that's
Wow.
fun.
I mean,
It's just fiction.
fiction. Okay. Man, I almost don't know what to say after that. I mean, I'm trying to remember who was it where they were talking about. They were literally talking about the overpopulation, and it started mirroring some of the stuff that he was saying in there. And this isn't the. I've heard this from multiple so-called elites, and they've just like said it like openly. What was the prince that just died?
Philip.
Philip. Remember what he said?
Oh, yeah.
His quote for the audience, so you guys can be refreshed. He said, when he dies, if he could come back, he would come back as a virus, so he could take care of overpopulation. I asked the question, if we're all just crazy conspiracists, why is this stuff getting scrubbed from the internet?
Yeah, what's that about? Also, his website, after he died in the jail cell with no one watching him, with paper sheets by hanging, which is normally not happening to anyone, but was accepted as the truth then. After that happened, you know, his website for his little foundation, Jeffrey Epstein VI, which I had checked out beforehand, was nowhere to be seen. I had to go to archive.org to find it. So they scrubbed that after he died, and it was super strange. And then I don't think I knew about Boris, like the guy who was who worked as an engineer in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, was the executor, or named as the executor in his will. And she shows in this article that he like denied. He was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. Like I'm good. I don't know why he said that he wanted me to do it, but like there's a lot of connections to Microsoft and the foundation and everything within her article. So specifically, there's this part, which is interesting because when you think Epstein, you don't think Bill Gates first. But in this article, for some reason, he came up first. Epstein was a guest at the Queen's birthday party at Windsor and traveled with Ghislaine to Andrew's country weekend at Sandringham before Christmas. He has made many millions out of his business links with the likes of Bill Gates, Donald Trump, and Ohio billionaire Leslie Wexner, whose trust he runs. How does he come last after Bill Gates and Donald Trump?
Well, and especially with the stuff that's happened concerning him over the past year. It's been a lot of news about him in particular.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure you all know we won't go into that.
And we didn't even hear anything about his goings-on with Jeffrey Epstein after a certain amount of time.
No, you would think that they...
Until the vaccines.
Isolated different thing. Now, all of a sudden, they're together.
Now the vaccines have been distributed. Everybody's lining up to get jabbed. And now we can hear about Bill and Jeffrey and their whole best friendship. And now it's totally okay in the media to mention it.
It's funny to me how, you know, it's like You can only talk about certain stuff at certain times.
At the same time, they're talking shit about Bill Gates and like the Daily Beast and all these other like mainstream outlets. They're still promoting the Pfizer and all of these vaccine companies. I mean, the drug manufacturers who make the vaccines, which it can't really be called vaccines at this point because we're in the untested, clinical trial period.
Mm-hmm. And you have to have years for clinical trials. Keep that in mind.
Yes. And so they're distributing them worldwide through the WHO. There's the WHO again, alongside CEPI, C-E-P-I. Damn it, if I fucking forgot what it was called. Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Institute is what I want to say it is. I think that's pretty much correct, but I want to make sure. Because that's also an organization from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. CEPI. Okay, they do have it here. Okay, yeah. Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, excuse me. And that is, let's see when that was established. 2017, just 4 years ago. And they are working alongside UNICEF to distribute vaccines to the poor in all these hard-hit countries, as they say.
Yeah, I noticed that the vaccinations, their number one places where they love to go to is always Africa and India.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because those are two of the largest populations. And I also noticed, why is it that you go to the places of minority populations that are high? Well, I mean, it's always over there. The only reason why they don't go to China and do it is because China doesn't allow a lot of foreigners to get in and just randomly do shit like they like to do. Or I believe they would be in China also.
Also, it's Gavi who's working with them as well, which is the aforementioned, the Vaccine Alliance. Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. I finally figured out what it was called. And so, looking at CEPI's page, just on Wikipedia, and you can find out a lot of surface information on Wikipedia, it was conceived in 2015 and formally launched in 2017 at the World Economic Forum. So funny how that keeps coming up, because that's who put on the Event 201 alongside the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Johns Hopkins University for the Center for Health Security. And then they also did Clade X. So that's interesting that they keep coming up. And they disseminate a lot of propaganda of the vaxports, basically. And you will own nothing. You will eat bugs. You will like it, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, that's their thing. There's some other subjects I want to get into very quickly, like rapid fire, and that was like the immunity studies that are going on right now are showing with COVID, if you have a mild case of COVID and you survive it, and well, obviously you would survive it, but like if you have it and it's like months later, you have immunity usually. Mm-hmm. That's what they're finding in these studies, and I can link them obviously below. But I'm just saying, like, that's good news for me because I'm not going to be taking the untested, unapproved vaccine candidate anytime soon. No. So maybe when the whole thing is over, and even probably not then, because I didn't even take the flu shot and I haven't had any serious flu until COVID. So, and then also I wanted to get to the vaccine lottery thing because that's so fucking dystopian, and we can't go without talking about that and the magnets thing. Well, first I want to do the magnets thing because it'll be easier, because that's a psyop, 100%. And we're not even talking about it anymore, like on the national scale in the news, it seems like, unless we're talking about the magnetoprotein, which I will link to from the Guardian article from 2016, which is a thing that will control remotely your brain and behavior of humans. So that's fun. So we do have the ability to put magnetism in people. So that's interesting to think about. But it's also not exactly what we're dealing with lipid nanoparticles and whatever the hell else they got in that damn thing. So there are like all kinds of videos, but videos I don't really take very seriously, especially if they're off TikTok. Sorry, I don't really trust TikTok that much. Just, as a rule, or YouTube for that matter, when it comes to videos. Anyone can do whatever they can do to make something happen. It's 2021. We have all kinds of tricks that we can do, editing things. Like I was able to attach a magnet to myself, to my arm with water, like just watering the arm and then put it on there and then it will stay on there for a long time. That was just my experiment. I'm not saying it's happening to everyone that they're all using water. I'm just saying that's a way to do it. So there's that, and then the vaccine lottery, because we're getting so many shots in arms. We need to pay people to get shots.
Yes.
Because that makes sense.
And give away free tickets to stuff.
And free fries. Who doesn't want fries?
What that's telling me is that's
it's not
bullshit.
About health.
What it's telling me is bullshit. You're not getting people vaccinated. And what it is a much higher percentage of people don't trust this vaccination than they're letting on. They're making it seem, oh yeah, everybody's getting it. Don't get me wrong, there are a bunch of people getting it, but they're making it as if like, no, it's that very, very, very small percent, like 10% of people who are not going to get it or whatever.
Yeah, vaccine hesitant people.
And the people who haven't got it yet, it's because they just haven't found the time.
Or, they're waiting for everybody else to get it, and then they'll get right in line.
It's not that they're
false
not going to
scarcity.
take it at all. They just haven't yet.
At first, it was false scarcity because they're like, okay, you can only get this jab here or shot here. You got to go here to this thing. I'm sorry, we don't have them everywhere. We're trying to get them. Like Trudeau and fucking Canada was like, I'm sorry, we can't give them all the vaccination. And then everybody's like, oh, we have a lockdown again? Oh, fuck those fucking vaccine people. Like, they should have given us vaccines. I hate Trudeau because he didn't give me vaccines. Girl, no.
Yes,
you're not
exactly.
Understanding this situation.
Be happy you're not getting
And
it.
then the variants probably come from the vaccine, but we're not allowed to talk about that. They might come from them.
What I'll say is, on the variants thing, you guys just pay attention to what's going on and then give it 3 months. Mm-hmm. Because what I find, what's going on in the media, everything you say or come out and start saying, automatically gets, nope, can't trust anything they're saying. Everything they're saying is false, conspiracy, false. Snopes is coming after you. Censor. And then they start to kind of lose.
You know what?
Well, maybe.
We'll walk it back. You might have a point there. I guess Trump wasn't totally wrong about the Wuhan thing.
But at the same time, that doesn't take us off of those new algorithms. That doesn't take away all the censorship. That doesn't take away you discrediting us on mass platforms. That doesn't erase all that. Because you're not going to come back and be like, you know what? This account, and this account that we yanked down, they were not lying. They were sharing legitimate information. Yes. We just didn't like the slant. I mean, I've heard reporters come out and say, well, I just naturally just trusted Fauci, admitting that they just had a natural bias to trusting. Not that his information was correct. It's just like, the people that I trust him, so I'm going to trust him. And we got to stop doing that.
Yes, and also Fauci has lied before. He has been compromised before in what he has said and done in the 80s and 90s. So he is not new to this game. This is what he does. Well, Kerry said himself, Kerry Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test and Nobel Prize winner in science. He was a molecular biologist or whatever, and he... supposedly, I don't know how, but he got pneumonia and died in August 2019. Don't know how that happened. Right before Event 201, 2 months later, and then the outbreak happened after that. So he wasn't able to say anything to Fauci this go round, but he had said a lot in the past, and there's interviews that have been suppressed by the mainstream media that you can find on BitChute or Odyssey or wherever, and you can get that information for yourself from the actual source. Also, this is in New York. Okay, they have the Excelsior Pass, which is the vaccine passport that they use in New York. And then now they have the vaccine lottery with Cuomo. And this dude was already Me Too'd and nothing happened. And he already killed a whole bunch of people in nursing homes. Nothing happened before that. How much does it take to get
and he's even hot water right now with the nursing home thing, and it's being suppressed.
It's a cover-up. It's like a literal cover-up. They covered the numbers. They changed them. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, and now this dude's talking to people every day like he's a dictator and shit. And offering them fries. And the other guy's offering them fries. But he's offering them money now. So... he just makes me so sick because he's just part of that family of gangsters that people, like, I don't know why you would trust this motherfucker.
Or what we call them on the show, we call them the Fredo brothers.
I mean, come on. And his brother was so suspicious in his little COVID scare and everything. Like,
oh yeah, the coming out of the basement shit. Well,
Come
and then you see him get into an altercation with somebody like a little bit after that, or was it right before that? Can't remember. About him.
Yeah, Fredo. I was looking at Ohio and judging that guy, and thinking he was stupid as fuck. And now it's coming here. And it's like, are we going to escape any of this shit? Is it just going to go everywhere now? I feel like it will. 116.5 million.
Well, I mean, how I believe is going to happen is we're going to literally be sitting in a form of Minority Report without the psychics. Except the only thing is it's going to be the computers doing it. I mean, they've already
This
talked
is all
about...
leading to transhumanism, by the way, guys.
Well, I mean,
that's
yes.
the whole point.
I mean, all of this is leading
the
to
biometric data
exactly.
is going to be, mixed with digital cards and stuff. Like, they're going to have all of our information. It's not just about vaccination.
Well, then that's what we'll have to do. Next time I come on, we'll have to talk about the transhumanism and Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
because
he's not
that's
immune
what I'm saying.
at all.
That's a whole nother, like...
I wanted to mention him before, but I'm like, we don't have time for him.
But that's another good hour to
or
2 hours
Dogecoin.
worth of conversation there. So, yeah, we can't get into him
Inflation. We got to talk about Joe Biden, like, telling this girl that she looks 19. And when she crossed her legs, like, what the fuck is wrong with our president? Like, and then you see these fucking people saying Creepy Donald as in a response to Creepy Joe. You know who's president? Not Donald Trump right now. So maybe we could talk about him later.